As of right now, I would still choose VeChain's primary native token called VET instead of Ethereum, even though nothing I say is financial advice. And some people may be wondering, okay, why would you do that? Take a look at Ethereum right now. Price is around 4,700, market cap is nearly 570 billion. I get all that. But if I'm just starting to get into Ethereum currently, how is that something that excites me? I mean, if Ethereum went to 10 grand, that's like slightly over a 2x from here. It's nothing that would really excite me in the grand scheme of things. And let's say, for instance, we take a look at something like VET, going to the price of 30 cents. That's around a 10x from here. And market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be around $26 billion. First of all, I don't think that's such a crazy market cap, but you've seen Dogecoin exceed that by around $60 billion, give or take, back in 2021. And when people say, oh, it's a 10x and all this, well, here's the thing again. What is Ethereum going to do if it reaches, let's say, 10 grand? Less than a 3x from here, right? Slightly over a 2x. Imagine if Ethereum did a 10x from here. That wouldn't seem that logical to me, let's say, in the next 6 months. Because, again, doing a 10x from here at that point, price would be nearly 50,000 and the market cap would be nearly 6 trillion. I just don't see that. Now, I'm not talking about what could Ethereum do 10 years later. I'm just saying hypothetically in the next 6 months, this is something that I just don't get why I would choose instead of VET. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, by the way, but this is just my mindset. I don't only just hold VET also, but when I just have those two options, I'd rather choose VET instead of Ethereum, but this is just my perspective. Again, Ethereum being a good layer 1 blockchain, having a lot of fans, doing very well in terms of hypothetical price, also on top of that being pretty massive. I get all that. But then, again, if I'm just trying to get into it right now, I don't know why that would excite me, but this is just my mentality. Now, some people may be thinking, oh yeah, but VeChain has fundamentals that are worse than Ethereum, some people may argue. Now, I think in terms of fans, in terms of hype, in terms of popularity, of course, VeChain is nowhere near as popular as Ethereum. But when I take a look at the fundamentals, I don't think it's that bad. Let me explain why. When we take a look at the VeChain Thor blockchain, this is very well known for its reliability. Like, for instance, ever since 2018, allegedly zero network outages. That's very impressive, in my opinion. Not to mention, VeChain, it's focused on supply chain management, which, I get it, is not necessarily the most cool or most interesting market out there, but at least it's focused on something that I think is necessary in the real world, I would assume, because a lot of businesses out there, I think in one way or another, could hypothetically somewhat improve their supply chain management. Not to mention, VeChain, I think, has good advertising in the grand scheme of things. Like, we saw what they did with UFC, with also Power Slap. And also, for instance, we take a look at how VeChain already has had partnerships with something like PricewaterhouseCoopers, aka PwC. We take a look at Deloitte. And PwC and Deloitte, they're two out of the big four accounting firms. So I think that's pretty interesting. We take a look at also BMW, H&M, LVMH, and many others. So I don't think VeChain has bad exposure. Sure, it may, again, not be focused on the most interesting market of all time because supply chain management, I don't find that as such a hype market. But when I take a look at the VeChain Thor blockchain, when I take a look at its partnerships when it comes to VeChain, I think the whole package, I do like what I'm seeing there. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, when it comes to this bull run, oh, it's going to be over when it comes to VET because take a look at the price. Well, hypothetically, I don't have that mentality because we've seen time and time again, right? Usually Bitcoin has a good rally, then Ethereum, then some of the bigger caps follow, and then some of the mid caps, and then it just keeps kind of trickling down to the lower and lower market caps. So when it comes to VET, it's not like I'm panicking or something like that because I kind of feel like maybe hypothetically it's not its time yet. And even historically speaking, as a worst case scenario, usually altcoins, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Again, this is a worst case. The last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year, so 18 months from then would actually mean around October this year. Now, it doesn't mean that every single altcoin is going to do that all at the same time, if it ever even does. However, that, if anything, I think kind of showcases to me at least that when it comes to VET, maybe the journey is hypothetically not over yet because people take a look at that and they're like, oh, it's not really doing anything and all this. I get it. VET has had a pretty big pullback, but then in the grand scheme of things, I'm still staying patient because I've seen time and time again, like for instance, even when VET had that most recent rally, right, before the pullback, I just kind of felt like it happened out of nowhere. It's not like I knew the exact moment in time was going to happen, but I was preparing for a moment in time by just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. And if that ever has that next leg up again, I know that I will not be able to know the exact moment in time. So I'm just going to be holding, waiting, and staying patient, and that's about it. When I take a look at something like that, people like to say, oh, the market cap is not the smallest, right? It's not a micro cap. So they say, if you care about hypothetical upside so much, why would you even compare VET to Ethereum? Well, it's because I am not in this space to believe in microcaps, but I don't want a random dinosaur where the market cap is just too massive. So when it comes to what I'm looking for, VET does fit that criteria for me, and that's why I believe in it. If I was looking for a microcap, I would not even consider VET, but I'm not looking for a microcap. So for what I'm looking for what I'm interested in, VeChain does fit that criteria personally in my perspective. And again, I'd rather choose that over Ethereum, and I don't want to choose Ethereum over this. This is just my perspective. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain. I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.